bring your saucepan and add 1 kilogram dark chocolate, 70%. Feel the chocolates with your hand. That's the part of making artisanal chocolate, is to feel it and make it by hand. Bring the whipping cream that it's already has been boiled with glucose and inverted sugar to 80 degrees Celsius and add a portion of it, like a 4-time base, and mix. So this is the first portion that we just added, and we're gonna mix it. It might feel very tough at the first mixture, but it's getting there. Be patient. Now stir it. Now this is the second portion, and you stir it again. This is the secret of making a ganache, is that the mixture will become so smooth when you make the truffle and you bite into it, and it won't become harsh. Keep stirring very well. As you see, I focus on the center very quick and on the around the sides gently. Hold the spatula or any spoon you're mixing with the way you like, in the way you feel comfortable with. And this is the last portion. Some master chocolatiers, they base it on 4 portions or 3, but 3 portions was always working great for me. And you keep stirring, and you see how beautiful that mixture start to become. And make sure when you add the whipping cream, you do not exceed 80 degrees Celsius, because you're gonna burn the whipping cream and it will smell in the chocolate. That's why most of the ganaches, they don't work, because people boil the whipping cream. That's the hard truth about chocolates. Small things really matters. Now we finished our ganache mixing. We're gonna finally use the blender and mix our ganache. Tastes so good, isn't it? Make sure you detach the head of the blender and take the rest of the chocolate out of the blender, because we don't want any waste. Trying not to touch the blades. keep the blender, you don't need to wash it because the ganache and water are enemies. After leaving the ganache to firm a little bit and reaching down to a temperature of 36 degrees Celsius, remember 36 degrees Celsius, add the butter. Now, after adding the butter, mix it with the blender. You can see how smooth the ganache is. Clean the side of the saucepan because after that you don't want the waste of the side to harden and we cannot use it. Look how beautiful it is. Look how shiny it is. Tastes so good. Use a film and cover it as you can see right now. Make sure there is no space between the film and the ganache. Done. Now, let's leave the ganache in 24 hours in a dark area between 15 to 20 C or in the fridge. You can leave it for 24 hours or you can leave it for 48 hours or even 3 days. I personally leave it for 2 days. Now we're gonna make our bowl of truffles. And remember, we just take our ganache from the fridge after 24 hours. Make sure your hands are dry, because if your hands are wet, you will create molds by time inside the ganache. Keep rolling. Don't worry if the shape is not as a circle shape. We will take care of that later. Just make sure you roll it as a truffle as much as you can quickly. Now we're done. Our saucepan is empty. Good. Now the next stage is for us to leave these truffles to sit uncovered for 15 minutes. And then we take them and reshape them again. And through the shape you can see that they start to get hardened. Those truffles are not truffles yet, so we give them another name. We call it centers. When we enrobe them with chocolate or cocoa powder, that's where we call it truffle. But for now we call it centers. And now we give them the shape that we want. Look how beautiful it is. It looks really handmade. Now let's cover it with a film in a dark area for 24 hours or 48 hours or 3 days. It is suggested to leave it for 48 hours. It will become firm and so hard after that. We will see. Don't rush. After 48 hours, our centers are ready. Can you see? It's becoming like a hard ball. Feel it with your hand. Be brave. Don't worry. See? It's hard. But the surprise is when you bite into it, it's so smooth like butter. And that is the secret of French artisanal truffle made by the finest chocolatiers in France. Look how hard it is. Feel it, experience it. Let's take one and open it for you and show you the secret to tell how beautiful the truffle are ready and firm. Watch. The top of the truffle should be smooth, and then from the 30% top down it can be rough, as you see. So 30% smoother and the rest is rough. That is a genuine, well made truffle. Now let's enrobe them with tempered dark chocolate. I choose 55% or higher. You threw it inside the dark chocolate. And if you want to cover it with powder, you put it on a powder plate. Use a spoon if you need. Make sure you don't roll it on the powder, or else the powder will get mixed with the chocolate and it won't taste good. The texture will be ruined. Just leave it on the top of the powder and wait until the truffles start to get hardened a little bit, and you can tell by watching this video. I'm not gonna skip anything for you to watch, because when you enrobe truffle with tempered chocolate, it only takes a minute or minute and a half for it to get hardened. You have no idea how delicious and amazing and breathtaking these truffles are. Great for wine and special occasion. I really suggest you use a fine high-end chocolate. You can see that the shape of the truffles are starting to hard through the video. Now we have some centers that they start to harden. Let's roll them. You don't want to wait until it's 100% hard, and you don't want to rush it when it's not hard. Just in between. That is beautiful. You can use a fork, a spoon, whichever you like. And I suggest you use a larger saucepan or a plate so you can roll them. Make sure you don't use the same fork that you roll with to dip the dark chocolate. Make sure you make some space. Be quick. And if you're afraid that your tempered chocolate is getting harder, put it back to warm up. If you have any questions on how to make a tempered chocolate, don't forget to visit us at www.endchocolateacademy.com. The link is attached to your courses, and you can reach us for any support or help, and I will be so happy to get in touch with you and help you out. It is so much fun to do. Look how the chocolate is starting to get hard in front of your eyes. That tells you that the chocolate we are enrobing it with, it's really well tempered. If you're missing a spot, it's okay. Cover it. Two left. Whoops. Now let's mix the hard ones. I try not to skip any part of it, so you can live the moment with me and see with your eyes how the changes happen. Because it's very important. Look how beautiful they look like. Can you imagine serving these beautiful truffles in your shop or at home for your loving ones? It will be an amazing experience, trust me. This type of truffles, I've got the honor and privilege to make it and serve it at the Ganache, one of the oldest chocolatiers in France, and Patrick Roger, one of the sculptor chocolatiers in France, one of the famous people. And this is the recipe that they used, and I've got the chance to make it. Now I'm showing you how. Take the truffle, dig a little bit so you can get rid of the over powder, because you don't want the powder on it. The powder I'm using is 100% cocoa powder. Look how vintage and delightfully it looks like. Done. You can leave it at the fridge between 15 to 21. See? If you don't want to cover it with powder, you don't have to. Just put it on top of parchment paper. And now you have plain dark 70% truffles and plain dark 70% truffles powder. Great with any type of wine, but I prefer that with red wine. It's just romantic and beautiful. And students in our school, they just love it. This is the signature of our school and our pride. Please join us. Send us an email, a proof of the photos that you experienced during your work, and we would love to get in touch with you. I personally, Francois Royal, thank you so much. Look how beautiful the bite is.